Alright, guys, we're gonna start something new. It's not gonna take too long to read it. But, the 95 Thesis. The 95 Thesis is by Martin Luther. The 95 Thesis is a disputation to clarify the power of indulgences. Wow. So, October 31, 1517, Martin Luther, a junior professor at the University of Wittenberg, not even somebody with tenure, I think, not even a full-time professor, a junior professor at the University of Wittenberg, dutifully mails a letter to his archbishop and changes the world. Dutifully, meaning like a calling. It was his duty to do it. It was his destiny. Mails a letter to his archbishop and changes the world, just following custom, an act of academic due diligence. So you can't mix smart people with people who try to get over on you. He bundled the letter with a couple of other items, a copy of 95 statements, aka theses, on indulgences to be debated publicly at the university, and an essay he'd written on the topic. It could easily have gone unnoticed. Someone could have mishandled it on its 300-mile journey from Wittenberg. 300-mile journey? The Archbishop's bureaucracy could have tossed it on the stack of similar mailings. An administrative matter, a non-urgent notice about an upcoming scholarly exercise at one of the universities on lands of the archdiocese. Luther's act was due diligence, a non-urgent notice about an upcoming scholarly exercise. So Luther's act was due diligence expected from academics who proposed disputations in their field of expertise. He could not imagine he was about to alter the course of history, yet that simple act, performed at the University of Wittenberg, a backwater town at the edge of the Holy Roman Empire, would lead to the dissolution of the Christendom and place an agenda for reform before the Roman Catholic Church that the Mother Church would reject, expelling Luther and his ilk. Thus, Luther's 95 Theses signaled the end of the medieval Europe and the beginning of the modern period, and more, which is considerable. Dissolution of the Christendom. And place a reform. Oh man, come on, fucking fly. Got him. Thus, Luther's 95 Theses signaled the end of the Middle... Okay, I already read that. Ironically, as earth-shaking and profound as his action was, almost no one at the time noticed, and subsequent generations have struggled to describe it. Despite the current popular depictions on stage, screen, and canvas, Luther's post that day was not a public event or rebellious act. Although there is scant evidence that he actually posted the 95 Theses, placard style, on a local church door in Wittenberg, the materials he sent to Albert, Archbishop of Mainz, still exist. Scott Hendricks, eminent scholar of Luther's life and work, puts it this way. Pictures of it. So Albert, he sent to Albert, Archbishop of Mainz. Anyway, so Scott Hendricks, eminent scholar of Luther's life and work, puts it this way. Pictures of a defiant Luther with hammer in hand as if he were starting a popular revolt are pure make-believe. Such pictures turn up for the first time in the 19th century. If the 95 Theses were posted on the eve of All Saints, it was merely an invitation to qualified debaters, not a call to arms. So they're saying he wasn't trying to be defiant, he simply wrote. That's it? An open invitation from a junior professor to a debate at a medieval university? Really? Not much drama at a debate, especially when the debaters are qualified. Spectacle, however entertaining, does not always equal substance. That's what Protestants commemorate and Roman Catholics bemoan every October 31. If they only knew. Not much drama, but huge historical consequence. Luther's invitation to debate signaled the sunset of medieval Christendom and the dawn of modernity. Although we cannot be sure whether he nailed or mailed the theses or both, and this disputation never actually occurred, the issues raised here would touch a nerve that convulsed Europe. Indeed, the issues in this document and the way it frames those issues led to contentious debates of the issues facing medieval Christendom. Politicians and wealthy landowners took positions on various sides of the issues. Politicians and wealthy landowners took positions on various sides of the conflict eventuated into what later became known as the Protestant Reformation. The conflict eventuated into what later became known as the Protestant Reformation, or better, the Reformations. So what were indulgences? They were promises made by the church to penitent believers that the punishments required by their sins before entering paradise had been satisfied. They had been forgiven by God's grace. Their salvation and heavenly destination were secure, yet satisfaction for their sins was still in order. Indulgences were like promissory notes from the church, specifically the Pope, that could be obtained by believers to reduce the punishments that awaited them in purgatory. Penitents could obtain indulgences by performing pious actions, go on pilgrimage, venerate relics, observe feast days, and the like. Eventually, the church came to accept monetary contributions as satisfaction for the punishment of sinners. That's the major issue, is that they were asking to get paid as contribution satisfaction for getting paid to get God's grace, to be forgiven by God. He had to pay a fee. The evolution of indulgences in the theology and practice of the church had not allowed for a full and open conversation about them. As a dutiful professor of theology, as someone who's just going to do his job, kind of like a person that writes something, a journalist, right? As a dutiful professor of theology, Luther wanted to have that conversation. The evolution of indulgences in the theology and practice of the church had not allowed for a full and open conversation about them. Luther wanted to have that conversation. The practice of the church, evolution of indulgences in theology. Little did he know that these theses would change the world, and they would soon catapult him out of his quiet classroom and monastery into the chaos of shifting epochs and clashing cultures. Okay, so here they are. We're starting the theses, all right? Anyway, let me that's just the intro to these theses. Peace, y'all.